Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Dur-Red. This is their part number 42169. This is a bottom bracket for their 15-inch pressure intensifier. And this video is to simply provide visual evidence of what it is, some dimensional evidence of what it is. Let's do that now. Overall height of the bracket, about 8.5 inch or so. Overall width, about 2 1/4. The projection up at what would be the top looks like it's about 7/8 of an inch. Then down here at the bottom looks like it's about 2 13/16. You've got a couple of holes in the back where it would be bolted to the sidewall. Center line on that first hole is about 5/8. The second hole looks like it's about 6 5/8, and then down to about 7 7/8. Weighs 1.5 pound. And again, the purpose of this video is just to show you this is what it looks like. Now the question is, why might you be looking at a bent piece of steel? Let's talk about that now. So it's quite likely that you have a Dur-Red roof hatch and you're looking for parts, and you've searched and you've somehow come across this video. What happens with roof hatch parts is that they get removed over time, is the bottom line, or they get damaged. Generally what happens is roof hatch parts will get damaged, or they'll be intentionally removed and maybe lost or not replaced. And if you have a situation where you have a roof hatch that's not working or closing or opening as it was designed to, sooner or later someone's going to say, I need that to be fully functional. It's either going to be an outright replacement, which is unusual or unlikely because of the overall cost. You know, you're bringing in a roofer, you're getting the material itself, you probably are going to need a boom lift, you're going to need permits and the whole 9 yards. You're running the risk of your roof leaking after you tear out a known good installation, when really all you need are some parts. And Dur-Red calls these spring assisted lifting mechanisms, they call them pressure intensifiers. And this is what I would call the boot that goes on the sidewall, that the pressure intensifier and its round telescoping tube will literally bolt to with a typical, don't quote me, but a 3/8 by 2.5 inch hex cap machine bolt, a nylon lock washer possibly, or just a standard, a nylon lock nut, or just a standard nut. And then this is going to run up to the underside of the lid where there will be a mounting bracket. And as you open and close the lid, that spring is going to compress that's inside of there to allow you to safely lift and safely close something that is otherwise extremely heavy. And I've had customers that have had such large lids, such large units, like 3 foot by 8 foot. You can but barely lift those without the hardware being installed. And this very likely could be missing from something that large. And generally 15-inch pressure intensifiers from Bilco. And other manufacturers might call them shocks or lifting mechanisms, spring assists, some things of that nature. It's going to come a time when you've got one that needs to be brought back to original operating condition, is why this is going to come into play. Let's switch to the screen view and let's take a look at all of the supporting documentation that we have. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now let's get back to it. Okay, here are some images that we have of the bracket. This would be a right side view. Right side view, that would be the rear side, the back side. Elevation, 3D so to speak. Plan view. That's the top, by the way, the plan view of the top. Here's the parts drawing. So 42169, that is the very first top line, that's number 1 here, item 1. It's also right here, item 1, which is shown here. You'll note that nuts and bolts are not included, that's all separate, but the part numbers are here, and you can find all this material in our website as well. This document is really handy because it will allow you to better determine what all you need when it comes to the associated hardware for the pressure intensifiers. Now, speaking of this, I'm going to say that I think they have this drawn upside down, because I usually see the smaller diameter of the two telescoping tubes at the bottom of the installation. That doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that this is incorrect, but I generally see it that way. Part 3, I would also say, is shown upside down as well, because they'll always look in, with this sort of orientation. That's the right bracket, that's the left bracket. We know that that's the case because when you're facing the unit with the lid open, the right bracket's on the right and the left is on the left. Okay. When it comes to identifying which model you have in terms of pressure intensifiers, there's two sizes that I've seen from Dur-Red, 15-inch and 9-inch. It's quite obvious the 9-inch can never be the 15-inch, which I generally find to be the length of the spring, and vice versa. You can't really see a 15-inch pressure intensifier and think it's going to be 9-inch, because even when these two tubes go together, it's greater than 9-inch in my experience. There is, in our website, anywhere where you can find a Dur-Red product, you can just search for Dur-Red, and on any of the pages you'll find a link here to the manufacturer's page, and when you click on that, you'll be able to pull up not only all of the Dur-Red products we sell by means of this horizontal navigation, but also a link to the manufacturer's website and some other encyclopedic documentation. First of all, their technical drawings master index. This we basically scraped off their website and consolidated all of it into a single document. And the reason we did that is because their product catalog doesn't show us that technical information. And this document is 15 years old by now, and it's the most current that had been produced. So you may not get the information out of this that you're looking for. And this is a large file, so we're just waiting for it to load, I suppose. Not many pages in the document, but here would be page 12 showing some typical hatches, ladder hatch. And this is a good cross-section of what the manufacturer is showing us here. There's a pressure intensifier. However, I can tell you this is a 9-inch because the bottom boot does not look like the one we're working with, and that top bracket also is different. You can see it here as well to a certain extent. That's a 9-inch pressure intensifier. The 15-inch you're going to see on much larger, therefore much heavier. Well, much larger lids and ones that end up being much heavier. And you'll see two 15-inch installed together, and 2, 4, or 6 of them on a single unit, even more than that. There's also a 2022 catalog, but Dur-Red was bought by Activar Industries, or JL Industries is how I know them. And this would be the catalog after the acquisition. So I can't really say much has changed, because I don't believe much of it has changed whatsoever. But when it comes to identifying Dur-Red, there's usually a name embossed, stamped, or coined in the sidewall of the unit, at least giving you the information to help you get started. There's a Dur-Red gallery that's here, and we may be able to see an instance where there's a name. Well, there's a decal on the underside of the lid here. That's quite helpful. That's less permanent, though. I do believe I've seen some models where it's embossed. There it is. That's that's handy. That's not a decal that you can peel away. So if you find that, and you find our video on the underside of the lid, you're now in a great position to be able to. Here's an example of showing both. So you're off to the races. Common parts that you're good. This is a great example. This picture. Parts have just been removed. This is literally a job that we supplied replacement parts for. Clearly, 15-inch pressure intensifiers were here. You're missing a hold open bracket here and here. That would be pressure intensifier. You've got your latch here. You've got gasketing. The latch is probably okay, but we would have wanted to have supplied gasketing, the hold open bracket, which would be a right hand hold open, and then 2 pressure intensifiers as well. All right, let's wrap up this video on camera. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. So in conclusion, if you are looking for a Dur-Red bracket, or you've got a Dur-Red unit, or you've got some tip-off that you've got something Dur-Red, hopefully this video will allow you to make contact with us. Take photographs if you're up on the roof. Take measurements of the lid. The second dimension is always the dimension that has the hinge, which is usually the back side of the lid as you open it in front of you. It would be depth and then width. The second dimension has the hinges, like I just said. That is also the case for access panels, interestingly enough. Take lots of photos. We can generally get to the bottom of, or to the root of, what it is that you need when it comes to replacement parts. Any questions on the 42169 replacement bottom bracket for a 15-inch Dur-Red pressure intensifier, or any other Dur-Red product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you. Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up. Please subscribe and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.